First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my former son a second chance? I, 48 male, find out my ex, 49 female, had cheated on me and that the 2 children she had given birth to, 23 female and 21 male, only one, the girl, was mine. I filed for divorce and my ex tried for reconciliation, but I couldn't live with so much doubt. Once we got to court, it was like a switch had flipped, and she tried to keep me from the children. It didn't work though. I had really good lawyers. In spite of everything, I was willing to still be a father to Noah, fake name, but my ex can be very manipulative. She told Noah about his real dad, and even introduced them. Since then, I became the strict fake dad, while he was the cool real dad. When Noah was 13, he told me that he no longer wanted to see me, and that he'd tell a judge the same thing if I forced visitation. I asked him why, and if I ever made him feel bad. Noah just said that he wanted to spend more time with his real dad, and didn't like my house rules. I was heartbroken, but I let him go, and still made attempts to keep the relationship. I called, texted, sent presents, and even invited him to events. Noah wouldn't respond nor pass small messages to his sister. When Noah was 18, he illegally changed his surname to his father's and told me there wasn't enough room for me to attend his graduation. After that, I gave up and resolved myself to live life with being a father to my daughter and son, 12 male, via my second wife. Recently, Noah reached out to me and apologized for his past actions and wanted a relationship again. I was surprised and heavily skeptical, and was right to be so. Apparently, Noah's real dad got married and his wife gave him an ultimatum, and he chose her. I told Noah that, while I'm sorry for what happened to him, I had no interest in being treated like an old pair of gloves that you only think about and wear when it gets cold. My ex thinks I'm being hurtful and petty, rich coming from her, and my daughter says that she understands my pain, but hopes that I can learn to give Noah a second chance. I just don't know. Because I'm in a place where I'm fine not having Noah in my life or having any communication with him. And I don't want to rekindle a relationship just for him to drop me again when his real dad changes his mind. Am I the a-hole? Edit for info. Just to be clear, because I keep seeing this. I divorced my ex when Noah was 6. My ex told Noah the truth about his parentage when he was 10, and his real dad came into his life at around 12. This all didn't just happen when he was 13. By the time he reached that age, he already had at least a year to process the information. When I asked my daughter, since Noah wasn't talking to me, if she thought her mom was pushing Noah to say those things, she said no. Apparently, Noah wanted to spend time with his dad, but because of his work schedule, it wasn't always often. But when it could happen, it was conveniently during my scheduled time with Noah. I tried to see if I could work something out, but my ex and Noah refused any compromise. Now for the top judgment. Not the a-hole. There's a high likelihood Noah was being manipulated into cutting contact, considering his own mother is extremely manipulative, and his own father discarded him so easily. He grew up lost, and is still lost as an adult. His actions sucked in the past, and they don't necessarily have to be forgiven, but you can at least try to guide him somewhat so he doesn't end up down the wrong path from his tumultuous childhood. If you don't, that's understandable too, as his actions have consequences. Hell, at least he'll learn that if you push hard enough against someone trying to help, they may not want you back in their life later. Seconding this OP, just wanted to add that if you decide to give him a chance, go slow and steady. If you want, you can try therapy for the two of you. Not the a-hole. You won't be the a-hole even if you decide not to, because that's quite a difficult situation to be in, considering the past. But my ex can be very manipulative. Your ex likely manipulated him into being that way as a teenager, it seems, from your story. I'd say not the a-hole, but I think you should give him a chance. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It seems way too suspicious that a 13-year-old just cut off all contact with a person he called father for at least 12 years before. Not the a-hole. You were under no obligation to welcome him back with open arms. Frankly, I'd be incredibly suspicious. As is so often the case when family makes contact after years of no contact, he wants something, even if that something is just to alleviate his own guilt. That he only reached out after his bio father tossed him out is not really your problem. What was the basis of this so-called ultimatum that a new wife gave that forced any kind of choice on the bio father? That itself sounds suspicious. Was by a father supporting him or giving him money and/or a place to live? What possible conflict could there be with a 21-year-old adult child that would force a choice? There are a lot of missing details to the son's story that all go toward his credibility and the reason he's suddenly so interested in a relationship. It's been over 8 years since you've had any meaningful contact, and probably a lot longer since you've had a paternal relationship with him, probably since the actual divorce. He's essentially a stranger to you. Why is everyone else so interested and invested in you rekindling a relationship with a stranger? Frankly, it would take years to get to know the person he is today. Isn't 21 right around the time you start paying back the student loans? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for spending $6,000 in my daughter's room and refusing to do the same with my stepdaughters? I, male 42, have a 16-year-old chronically ill daughter and her name is Lauren. She's the light of my life, best thing that ever happened to me, and it's absolutely devastating to see her struggle like that every day. She spent time being in and out of the hospital dealing with several issues related to her condition, and she's getting exhausted. Doctors arranged for her to be going to outpatient clinic to receive treatment and said it was best for her to get rest as much as possible. From what the doctor said, and being too concerned at also her behavior, I just knew. I have this gut feeling Lauren might not live more than a few months. She's back in her home, her room where she grew up and had beautiful memories with her mom. She spends most of her time there. Lately, she's been asking to eat her favorite meals, / go to her favorite places and things like that. I try to do all I can to make that happen. She showed me several bedroom decorations and designs and expressed her admiration for one of those bedrooms. I talked to my wife about wanting to redecorate Lauren's bedroom and get her the design she liked since it's her wish, and she has the right to have it after all she's been through. My wife was okay at first. It cost me $6,000. It's very modern and chic. Lauren was happy, and she lightened up. My stepdaughter Eve, 12, saw it and threw a tantrum, asking why Lauren got her room decorated and not hers. I thought we were already aware of Lauren's situation. Suddenly, my wife said maybe I should get Eve's room redecorated as well, since it was obvious she wanted the same thing. Well, first off, all the money was pulled out the emergency fund I put aside for Lauren. And also, I can't afford to pay another $6,000 to get Eve's room decorated right now. I have responsibilities and Lauren's situation is different. When my wife argued that I was avoiding responsibility for messing up, I told her to her face that Lauren may not be around in a few months, and this was her wish, and she should understand and respect her wish instead of encouraging Eve and telling me to pull another $6,000 from the emergency fund for Eve's room. My wife says she understands, but that was the right thing to do if I don't want to cause difference in treatment between the girls and resentment. I lashed out. I just snapped. I told her she was being reasonable and should just either stop bringing it up or use her money to redecorate Eve's room since it couldn't wait. It got too much. I didn't want Lauren to notice the drama and feel guilty and be robbed from her joy and excitement of her new room. I worked hard to make sure all her wishes are respected. The issue is still here, and I feel helpless because Eve deserves a room too, but I can't afford to pay anymore. My daughter suffers from heart failure. She has a medical device VAD to help and support heart function. She can't do most things on her own. She's constantly tired and out of breath. Fluids built up in her legs. She deals with other issues which are worse, but the worst is her inability to breathe properly. I've been told that my daughter may not be able to wait any longer till she gets heart transplant. We've been waiting for a while and her health has been declining, and the device is there to help her till she gets her operation, but she may not wait for more than a few months. Now for the top comments. Not day haul. Make it an age thing. Just tell everyone that she will get to redo her room when she's 16 like Lauren. Then you and your wife can start setting aside money for it now. This is perfect. Sweet 16 present. In the meantime, she should still get a makeover with maybe an accent wall, fresh paint, new blankets or art. I think she probably is feeling very left out though, even though Lauren is so sick and you might imagine she should understand. Please make sure you are spending time with her alone, as a family, and making both girls feel special as individuals. Therapy might be good too, since having such an ill family member is incredibly scary. It also takes the focus off the healthy kids in a way that can't be avoided. And that hurts. So maybe a good option as well. Not day haul. She's dying for goodness sake. Your wife should take this as an opportunity to teach her daughter empathy. I think you, Eve, and your wife might benefit from some family counseling to really bring forth that sometimes life isn't fair, but you love both Lauren and Eve. But sometimes people's circumstances are different, so they get different treatment. I really don't have a judgment here. This is heavy stuff. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for testifying against my family in court? So, long story. We'll call my one brother 33 male, Chris. Chris has a baby mama and 2 kids with her. We've known her for almost 10 years. Kids are younger, 5 and 2. They were engaged, but it turned out she wouldn't marry him until she started treating his issues. So, flashback about the time they started dating. Chris was already an alcoholic and living with us while I was in high school. He'd just gotten out of the military, so he was figuring stuff out. While here, he tried to take over as a disciplinary figure for me, 25 female currently, since my father had moved across the country for work. This didn't go well. He ended up getting kicked out and eventually came back and lived with us for a few months because my parents always continued to give chances. Fast forward, I'm finally out of that place and in college, and he knocks up his baby mama for the first time. He isn't treating her well at all, to sugarcoat things. I'm still at school knowing this is going on, and I reach out to baby mama every now and then, letting her know that she has a support system and that she'll always have someone there for her if she needs anything. Fast forward again, and it's Thanksgiving a couple years ago. I've finally grown into my own person, and I don't put up with people being treated poorly, whether it be myself or others. I notice that he's still displaying toxic and horrible behavior towards her, and I make a comment trying to deflect from her and bring the attention on me. Their toddler was present. Later, things escalate dramatically. My parents tell him to leave or they'll call the cops. Sugar-coated. This is where the conflict really starts. After a couple weeks, my family pretty much brushes everything off, and I'm the one making waves and making everything uncomfortable. The only person on my side is my oldest brother, 36 male, who lives out of state. It gets to the point where I limit contact with all of them for a couple years. Which brings us to now. My parents at least see that Chris for who he really is. They rarely ever speak out against it though, and they rarely see him now. The rest of the family still treats him like he's a god who was in the Marines for 4 years. The courts temporarily grant custody to baby mama due to COVID. Suddenly, he is suing baby mama for full custody and wanting her to pay child support. He brags about how much he makes, and it's what makes him a man in his mind. The family that worships him is testifying about how great he is. And then, there's me. I actually reached out to baby mama and tell her that I'll tell everything to the courts in her defense, and she agrees. So, I'm testifying against my brother, and my parents sort of understand. But the rest of the family has completely rejected me, as in literally refusing to invite me to a close family wedding. Am I the a-hole? Extra info. The stuff I described that he's done is literally the tip of the iceberg, and unfortunately I currently can't give more in-depth details. Not the a-hole. He's abusive and your family's enabling his behavior. I hope he doesn't get custody. Good luck. You're doing what's best for the child and the mom. You've said you had already started distancing yourself from your family. I didn't think they would want to associate with you after that. Good luck. Not the a-hole. And I'm going to be blunt here, OP. Your parents are a-holes in this situation too. They are choosing 1. Your brother's pride over the well-being of their grandchildren. 2. To let you be offered up to the sharks of the family. By not speaking out against him, they're increasing the chances that he can inflict immense pain on those kids. By not speaking out against him, they're communicating to the rest of the family that you are out of line. They need to be adults and treat your brother like an adult as well. They need to stop giving him a mask of respectability within the family and outside it. They're enabling his behavior even if they no longer see him. That does not help. They're letting him control his own narrative, and there's so much destruction that can lie in its wake. They raised him into the man he is today. They need to take responsibility for that. His actions are not their crimes, but them refusing to be honest about his feelings shields him. I think the way you worded this is perfect, and everyone even remotely close to this kind of situation should hear this. Brilliant. Not the a-hole. Think about it. I'm assuming if you don't testify, you're ruining an innocent child's life who'll have to live with a proven abuser. He's even admitted to all of it in a previous trial, so the fact that he thinks it won't come up again is mind-blowing. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's wife she cannot make me her children's legal guardian? My dad got married 2 years ago. His wife has 3 young kids under the age of 6. I, 20 female, was out of the house when they moved in together. They moved in together about 2 months before they got married. And I don't have much contact with them because I go to college and work several states away from them. I say this because back in April, my dad asked me would I be willing to be the kid's guardian should he and his wife pass away. I said no. He said he understood and that they would figure something else out. His wife then asked me the same question and I gave her the same response. Twice more she called after that, and then in December she called again, more ready than ever. She told me that I would be the only option for the kids because she has no family and my dad's family don't want to take them either. She asked would I really not want my siblings if they were gone. I said they're not my siblings, and no, I do not want to be responsible for them if she and my dad were to pass. She said she would write it out on her will anyway, and I told her she can't because I do not want to take them and she will mess with them more if she doesn't find someone else. She said it was rude to tell her what she could and couldn't do, especially regarding her kids. My dad said he knows she pushed, but I need to understand they are worried about what could happen and it never hurts to have a plan in place. So, he would like me to smooth things over with his wife. So tell me, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She cannot make you their guardian no matter what she puts in writing in her estate documents. She can say these are her wishes, but she cannot force this to be done, especially since she'll be dead. We found out that there is absolutely nothing stopping our family from contesting our wishes for our daughter if something happened to us. We want our close friends to take her, not our parents or siblings, but they can't challenge that, and it is always up to family court to affirm that our chosen guardian is suitable for the responsibility. That is true, but if you very explicitly explain in your will exactly why you don't want certain relatives to get guardianship, and you have good reasons, the judge is unlikely to overrule your wishes. Not the a-hole. You are not obligated to become anyone else's legal guardian, not even close kin. That they are not respecting your decision, which you do not have to justify or explain, is telling. They also cannot force you into that position by just writing it into the will. They need to be told to get a realistic option prepared that is not you. Do not smooth things over with her by capitulating to any of these nonsense. Not the a-hole. It's creepy that they are planning to so intently for their demise. I do get that she wants to know her kids would be taken care of, but if someone says no to it, then you need to figure something else out instead of leaving it so there will be nothing planned. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.